One thing I can't stand is a tap dancing ass black person.
Malcolm called this out 62 years ago.
There were two kinds of Negroes. There was that old house Negro.
I don't care about your reparations. Listen, I don't care if you ever get it. As a matter of fact, I'm advocating against it because it's going to fuck up my dollar and make inflation go out of control. And so I don't want them to pay you.
And the field Negro.
I do not like Sambos, and I don't like sellouts. People like this act as if systemic racism doesn't exist just because they became the exception to the rule.
It's crazy how accurate that still is, because the fastest way to blow up on the internet, get famous, get rich, have a huge platform that generates millions of views is to have brown skin and hate on the black community.
When you think about Rosa Parks and what she did, and everybody thinks she's so heroic, do you know Rosa Parks had a car?
And it's one of the reasons why we need to dismantle diversity, equity, and inclusion.
And I don't want to be around someone who thinks the color of their skin is some kind of defining characteristic and the most important thing about them.
Such thing as racism is an illusion. It's a lie that's been made up by the race hustler.
When you hear about slavery for 400 years, for 400 years, that sounds like a choice.
She knew how to kill the vampire. She was want to put everybody on game. You would represent the black woman in that regard, this big fat black girl, but then have the white girl, the pretty white girl, the pretty mother, and she's the reason why everybody got.
And I hope Jasmine Crockett is listening to this. Is engaging in verbiage and rhetoric for the street.
That's how we end up with all these
Boom, bootlicker, coconut, Uncle Tom.
and sellout.
You know, I am prejudiced, but everybody's prejudiced. I wouldn't say I'm anti-black. I'm hard on black people. Yeah, y'all need some criticism.
And also why we see so many brown faces across social media building their entire online presence into being anti-black, hating on black people, making black fatigue videos like they're going out of style and sounding more racist than the white supremacists.
Black Wall Street. I'm so tired of hearing talk about this past shanty town in the 20s. These act like this was the black version of the NASDAQ. The world has benefited from colonization. It's been a good thing for less developed peoples. Aboriginals would be sitting in skyscrapers right now if the white people never came to their land.
These people have such a level of self-hatred that they are even able to talk about their own people like that. Or maybe they just don't identify as being black in the first place because they're tearing down their own people, their own communities to get a pat on the back from racists who don't even like them.
But these black people, the ones you know, these African Americans, their average IQ is about 85. It's about 85.
But I'm Jew. Welcome to the channel. Please like and share the video. Don't forget to sub. Now, let's get into it.
There were two kinds of Negroes. There was that old house Negro and the field Negro.
Both are like higher.
And the house Negro always looked out for his master. When the field Negroes got too much out of line, he held them back in check.
Black people selling out other black people has always been a lucrative endeavor, going all the way back to slavery. Africans sold other Africans to Europeans into the transatlantic slave trade. And stop me when this sounds familiar. They sold their own people for economic incentives, weapons, textiles, and to gain favor with the Europeans. In recent years, we've seen the atrocities of slavery really be downplayed.
Slavery wasn't that bad. Trump is absolutely right. He didn't say slavery wasn't bad. He said it wasn't that bad.
They ate people. They ate people thinking that they were gained superpowers. They fed children to alligators for sport. They raped other men's wives. They raped men. They skinned people, turned them into shoes, bags, wallets, and furniture.
With a very intentional whitewash being done to it, as if slavery wasn't really that bad. I guarantee you it was worse, more horrendous, and terrifying than any of us can even imagine today. Women were brutalized and raped in front of their men. Men were raped in front of their women, beaten, lynched, or dragged away to their death. Slaves lived in a constant state of fear. And in conditions like that, you saw that same African tribalist, I'ma get my mentality, even if it means selling out people that look like me. That same thing happened on the plantations, where house Negroes or house slaves separated themselves from field slaves. They basically became the plantation snitch, letting master know when other slaves were slacking off, not following the rules or planning something. And they were rewarded for it.
The house Negro could afford to do that because he lived better than the field Negro. He ate better, he dressed better, and he lived in a better house. He lived right up next to his master in the attic or the basement. He ate the same food his master ate and wore his same clothes. And he could talk just like his master. Good diction. And he loved his master more than his master loved himself. That's why he didn't want his master hurt. If the master got sick, he'd say, "What's the matter, boss? We sick?" When the master's house caught a fire, he'd try and put the fire out. He didn't want his master's house burned. But then you had some field Negroes who lived in huts, had nothing to lose. They wore the worst kind of clothes, they ate the worst food, and they caught hell. They felt the sting of the lash. They hated their master. If the master got sick, they prayed that the master died. If the master's house caught a fire, they prayed for a strong wind to come along. This was the difference between the two. And today you still have house Negroes and field Negroes.
They became those house Negroes that received better food, better clothing, and better treatment than the rest of the slaves. Hell, even being given authority over the rest of the slaves. They were basically the managers on the plantation. Master's de facto backup. Selling your own people out was lucrative when slavery started, during slavery, and after it, all the way to this day, where we see these modern day house Negroes with platforms attacking and bashing the black community for money, status, attention, and a pat on the head from white racists.
You know, we don't want to go where it's violent either. It's typically a trend of violence from one race. Well, we know black people are more violent. We know this. But if we go to a HBCU, there, you know, like, or somewhere where like, maybe not HBCU. That's not a terrible example.
They are rewarded for being anti-black, racist, and spreading white supremacist talking points. They are the vehicle for white people to say the negative things they want to say about us without being targeted or called racist. Because these black sellouts use their skin color as a shield where they can't get called racist, even though we know what this really is. These are anti-black people that don't like themselves and don't like us.
And I would argue black people nowadays have more opportunity than anyone else. Yeah. You guys, affirmative action, DEI, whatever, people that aren't qualified are getting jobs, etc.
And unfortunately, black people are an easy target, and we always have been. Because the media has demonized us worldwide with very targeted propaganda, going all the way back to Birth of a Nation in 1915, which is widely known as the most racist film in history, as it intentionally demonized black people with the negative stereotypes that we're still used to seeing today. It portrayed us as deviant, untrustworthy, and violent, while portraying KKK, those white terrorists, as heroes. But the thing about being a sellout is it has limited shelf life. These people are only useful idiots. They're tools to be used against the black community. And eventually their usefulness to these racists will run out. Or if they step out of line or have a difference of opinion, they are expendable. That's why you see people like Officer Tatum being expelled by MAGA and the right, and basically finding themselves on an island where they've hated on black people so much they can't come over here.
So the neo-Nazis and the white supremacists wanted me out of the Republican Party, and guess what? I'm out.
But the white people don't want them anymore either.
For example, Candace Owens. I think that what Candace Owens is doing right now is evil.
He's a idiot. Brandon Tatum is an idiot. Dumbest person I've ever heard. He should get an education. Officer Tatum should get an education.
And once those sellouts, bootlickers, Uncle Toms, Uncle Ruckuses are chewed up and spit out by those same racists that they're tap dancing for, they get their Negro wake-up calls. That's what's eventually gonna happen to all these sellouts, because the money will run out, the opportunities will run out, and they'll just be old news. But we as a community have to do our part. Keep calling them out, keep confronting them, not letting their racist, anti-black narratives go unchecked. And there are more black channels doing that now than ever before, which is a good thing, because a few years ago, people like the Cartier family, Anton Daniels, Officer Tatum's, the Hodge twins, all built their platforms without a counterbalance of us calling them out for being sellouts. And that's why we'll be right here when they get that reality check so we can laugh at them like the clowns they are. But shout out to my channel members. Thank y'all so much for supporting. Thanks for watching. Y'all let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Also, make sure you check out the next video. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter for behind the scenes and life stuff. And I'll catch you next time. Peace.